Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Yubel Fire King deck profile. So you guys have been requesting me to do a Yubel deck for a very long time, and I'm really excited to do this one because this is a really interesting concept for a deck, and the way that I can actually summon out Yubel Terror Incarnate and then Ultimate Nightmare is just absolutely crazy. And in playing it in the Fire King deck, the field spell just works so well with Yubel, it's just ridiculous. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name description in a single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, and even getting each requested deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Yubel. So Yubel is a card that you want to see in your hand very right off the bat, because what this card does is it can be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. Also, when this face-up attack position card is attacked by an opponent's monster, before damage calculation, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the opponent's monster. Which, who in their right mind is going to attack into Yubel unless they're forced to? And also, it has the ability that during the end phase, you must tribute 1 card or destroy this card. And then when this card is destroyed, except by a card effect, by its own card effect, you can special summon 1 Yubel Terror Incarnate from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is kind of a neat card as well. So we're then playing a single copy of Yubel Terror Incarnate. So you might be really quickly thinking how you're actually going to pop this card. Well, Fire King Island's how you're going to pop this card to actually be able to special summon out your Terror Incarnate. So Terror Incarnate has the ability that can't be normal summoned or set. This card must be special summoned by the effect of Yubel. And this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. And when this face-up card attacks or is attacked by an opponent's monster before damage calculation, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster's attack. And then during the end phase, you destroy all other cards on all other monsters on the field. And when this face-up card is removed from the field, you get to special summon 1 Yubel, the Ultimate Nightmare, from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is also a really neat concept and a really awesome boss monster. We're then playing a single copy of Yubel, the Ultimate Nightmare. And yes, I did break out the old Phantom Darkness copy just for you guys. So what this card does is it can't be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned with the effect of Yubel Terror Incarnate. And this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. And if this face-up card is battled an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster, and then destroy the monster during the end of the damage step, which is a really awesome big boss monster, and it's really cool to be able to summon this card to your side of the field, just to be able to kind of nostalgically summon this card. We're then going to be playing 3 copies of Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Garunix is going to be a big boss monster as well, just to keep blowing board over and over again, just in case you need to. This card is really, really helpful in the deck. 3 copies of Barong. Barong is also a really awesome card in this build, because if this face-up card, if a face-up Fire King monster you control is destroyed by battle, or destroyed by a card effect, then you can special summon this card from your hand, and then during the standby phase, after this card was destroyed and sent to the graveyard, then you can add 1 Fire King card from your deck to your hand, which is really, really awesome to have you 3 searchers that also work with being popped. We then play 3 copies of Arvada. Arvada is my favorite of all the Fire Kings because it has the ability then when a monster effect is activated, while this card's on the field, you can quick effect negate the activation to destroy 1 other fire monster in your hand or field. And if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Fire Beast Warrior Wing Beast or Fire Beast Warrior or Wing Beast in your graveyard, set this card and special summon it. Its effects are negated and destroyed during the end phase, which is really a nice effect just to be able to summon it to your side of the field and have a walking negation. We then play 2 copies of Yangcha. Yangcha is really cool because it can also have the ability, this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, and destroy 1 card in your hand that or 1 card that you control. And if face-up Fire King control is destroyed by a card effect, then you can special summon this card as well from your hand. 2 copies of Coach Soldier Warfbar, because you can normal summon this card and bring back any of your Fire King monsters to your side of the field that are level 4s, and then immediately use them for XZ's plays, which is super nice. And then we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom just to round out the monster lineup, because it's going to stop your opponent from all the shenanigans. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn. The Monster Reborn is going to be really helpful to be able to go with your copy of Yubel, to revive it back to your side of the field, to then pop it with Garunix or your Fire King Island to be able to go off with additional plays, which is super nice in this deck. We then play a single copy of Terraforming, because the Terraforming is going to be able to search your copies of your 1 of 2 field spells that you're playing in this deck. We then play a single copy of Set Rotation. Set Rotation is to get both of the field spells on either side of the field, which is going to be super helpful for this deck. We then play a single copy of Circle of Fire Kings because it lets you target a fire monster you control and one in your graveyard, and you destroy the one on the field and special summon the one from the graveyard, which is pretty helpful. I just played it as a 1-of because I just feel like I need it as a 1-of. It basically goes 1-for-1, but if your Garunix goes to grave, it can help you get it back onto your side of the field. 3 copies of Onslaught of the Fire King. It basically turns your Fire Kings into Cyber Dragons, because if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can immediately special summon a Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast type monster from your deck, and its effects are negated. And if this card is destroyed during the end phase, or you destroy that monster during the end phase, which then triggers the effect of your Garunix on the field. We then play, since it's a fire deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Rekindling, because all of your Fire King avatars that are not Garunix have 200 defense. So this card comes in super handy at just being a massive monster reborn to then trigger all of their effects and make rank 4 plays. We then play 3 copies of Fire King Island. Fire King Island being the most important card in the deck. That has the ability, if this face-up card is destroyed or sent to the graveyard or banished, then you destroy all monsters you currently control. And also you can activate one of these effects to, during your main phase, you can destroy one monster in your hand or that you control, and if you do, you get to add a Fire King card from your deck to your hand, which is a monster. So you basically pop Yubel in your hand and it gets you a search, which then special summons Terra Incarnate to your side of the field, which is really awesome because then you can climb into Ultimate Nightmare really, really easily with Fire King Island. Or if you control no monsters, you can immediately special summon a Fire Beast or Wing Beast from your hand. So you can give you your Garunix as well. So this card is extremely important. So you might be looking at that set rotation and going, wait, what's the other field spell? Well, it's actually Savage Colosseum. So basically what this card does is it makes all monsters attack if able, and then during the end phase, you destroy all monsters that didn't attack this turn. So it forces your opponent to attack into your Terra Incarnate. So the set rotation is really nice to be able to just give this to your opponent and give yourself Fire King Island, and then basically you pop your Yubel, and then the fun starts there. We then play 3 copies of Fire Formation Tinky. The Fire Formation Tinkies are really good in this deck because they search any of your like level 4 fire monsters, which is really, really nice. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So with this deck being as hot as it is and all this fire, I figure I needed a little bit something to cool it down. So I actually am playing 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. We need a little bit of water on this fire. So basically what this card does is you activate this card only when a monster is summoned, and then you destroy all monsters on the field. This can really surprise your opponent and pop your Terra Incarnate to summon your Ultimate Nightmare really, really easily to your side of the field, especially if your opponent's targeting it with the card that they're going to be able to destroy it, and then they summon a card to their side of the field, or they summon something that's going to negate. You can just immediately drop this on your side of the field, and it re-triggers the effect of your Garunix, it triggers the effect of your Yubel, it triggers the effect of your Terra Incarnate. It's just an overall really, really awesome card. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, it's a little bit unnecessary. Like, you don't really need all the cards in the extra deck. So if there's anything in here that you don't really feel like you want to play, or something you want to change out, it's totally up to you. But this is one card I highly recommend, which is a single copy of Borrelguard. Borrelguard is ridiculously good in this deck because what it does is it can't be destroyed by card effects, and it's my go-to card to summon to my side of the field if I am going to Rekindling. The Rekindling, basically, with this card, is just ridiculously easy to summon this card to my side of the field. It can't be destroyed by card effects, and then once per turn, I can send one card from my spell and trap card zone to the graveyard to special summon from either player's graveyard one monster that was destroyed and sent to the graveyard this turn, but its effects are negated. And then once per turn, quick effect, you can target one monster on the field and change it to face-up defense position. So this card is ridiculously good in the deck with Fire Kings in general. We then play the same copy of Topologic Dragon. This card is really, really awesome because if a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, it just blows field, which is great. And also, it has the ability that this card attacks a monster, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack, which is really, really awesome to be able to just inflict that damage to your opponent. One copy of Access Code because it can pop multiple cards on the field, like this deck needs more of that. You can drop the Access Code if you want to for Boral Sword or Borreload if you're trying to go for more of a budget build. One copy of Appaloosa because it gives you monster negations. It's going to be very rare that you're actually going to summon this, but if your opponent's doing a lot of stuff that with monster plays and you have a Rekindling, you can summon them out to your side of the field and then make Appaloosa to be able to protect yourself. One copy of Unicorn to spin stuff, one copy of Phoenix to pop spells and traps, a copy of Cerberus to pop monsters, and then basically these are dark, fire, and earth targets for Access Code, just in case you need that extra oomph for the deck. One copy of the Fire Charmer Ablaze because it helps you get into additional link plays. IP Masquerena because it's super helpful in this deck to be able to go into copy of Unicorn during your opponent's turn. 1 copy of Divine Dragon Knight Felgram, because you can double Garunix into this card, which is super nice. Tiger King is really good too, because you play Fire Formations in the deck. Baguska, because Baguska can slow the game down a little bit while you're trying to get your plays off. Number 82, because you can attack your opponent directly while you have your field spell on your side of the field, which is super nice. 1 copy of number 60, because it can let you draw 2, discard 1, or revive a monster from the graveyard, which is super helpful, especially when you're playing Yubel. And a single copy of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, which you can make on top of your number 82 really easily, which is why I played in this deck. And you can make it on top of your copy of your Divine Dragon Knight Felgram. So that's pretty much it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really interesting concept, and you guys have been requesting me to build a Yubel deck for a very, very long time, and I'm really excited to actually build this deck and finally got around to actually doing it, because this deck is super fun. And I've had the copy of Yubel, like the 3 super rare first editions, sitting in my binder for a while, just looking at me like, hey, do something with me. I want to go in a deck. And I was like, hey, Fire Kings. Like, it was either going to be Nefertiti's or Fire Kings. And so I threw it in here to be able to go into some really cool plays and be able to summon Ultimate Nightmare. I might do some live duels with this deck because it's super fun and really interesting to play with. If you guys want to see that, you should definitely comment that down below, because it is up in the air. I might do some live duels with this against some really interesting decks. Maybe Toons or something would be interesting. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can comment bar notifications, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.